Widows is directed by Steve McQueen and stars a lot of people. I have to read this off. It stars Viola Davis, Michelle Rodriguez, Elizabeth Debicki, Cynthia Erivo, Colin Farrell, Brian Tyree Henry, Daniel Kaluuya, Jackie Weaver, Carrie Coon, Robert Duvall, and Liam Neeson. Widows is based off a 1983 British miniseries of the same name, and this movie takes place in Chicago, where four men steal $2 million from this politician. However, this heist goes completely wrong. These men are killed, and the van that they were trying to escape from blows up with the $2 million inside. So this politician goes to one of the widows of the men who were killed and tells her, "You have a month to pay back $2 million that you owe me. And if you don't pay me back in a month, shit's going to get real." So this widow decides to team up with all of the other widows of the men who were killed and to try to plan this heist so that they can receive the $2 million and pay this guy. And now we have our movie. Widows is a movie that I was highly anticipating because I'm a huge fan of the director, Steve McQueen. I loved every movie that he's directed prior to Widows, including 12 Years a Slave, Shame, and Hunger. This movie's from the writer of Gone Girl, and I loved Gone Girl as well. The cast was really stellar. The trailer looked very promising. So I went into this movie with very high expectations. And despite the fact that I went to this movie with very high expectation, this movie somehow managed to surpass those expectations. Let me start off by saying this. Widows was not the movie I was expecting it to be, but I mean that in the best way possible. Widows features Oscar-worthy performances, top-notch directing, brilliant screenwriting, and a lot of layers, entertainment, comedy, and pretty much everything that you want in a movie. I absolutely adored Widows, and let me explain why. Now, I have not seen the 1983 British show, so I can't really do any comparisons from this movie to that British show. But what I really admired about this movie and why it's different than what I thought it would be is because the trailer made it seem like it was going to be this pretty straightforward movie where, the woman, they got to pay a debt, and it's going to kind of be a movie maybe with a tale of vengeance and some crazy shit going on. There is crazy shit that goes on in this movie, but what this movie does to a very fascinating degree, this movie conveys a lot of social commentary, a lot of themes, and just a lot of character arcs that are deeply explored. And the way director Steve McQueen incorporates these kind of themes of racism, sexism, the inequalities of what's going on in the world, and how he incorporates that with the plot and how every scene plays out is absolutely, it was genius. And I have to commend Steve McQueen for that because I feel like because he was the one directing it, it worked so well. Because with another director who wanted to make a heist movie with some social commentary in it, it could have been a movie with themes that could have been very overbearing or force-fed, all that kind of stuff. But no, Steve McQueen knows how to incorporate it really well without bashing it over your head and simultaneously giving you an entertaining movie. This movie really is more about the woman, how they try to move on and rebuild themselves from a very broken society. Chicago, it's important that this movie takes place in Chicago because Chicago is very much its own character in this movie. Now, I can't really say any specific details because there is, as the movie goes along, you obviously find out more about the women that, that are trying to plan this heist, what they went through, and how basically their lives were defined by their husbands and, all the problems that they've been through and how Steve McQueen utilizes, like I said, utilizes the themes and the character arcs and just an entertaining movie. It was really brilliant. I have to give Steve McQueen the highest praise for that. And not only in terms of that, but the heist scenes are very well directed. They're intense, and there are just a lot of cinematography that was really it was really fascinating. Especially one long take scene that involves a car. And I don't want to say anything more, but you'll know it when you see it. And the way it was filmed was great. The acting is on the top of its game here. There, like I said before, there are some Oscar-worthy performances. There are three standouts, in my opinion: Viola Davis, Elizabeth Debicki, and Daniel Kaluuya. Viola Davis is the main character of this movie, and she delivers a powerhouse performance. She continues to prove that she's one of the greatest actors working today. Even when she's in a bad movie, you could say Viola Davis gave a good performance in that movie. So she's always that actress that always gives it her all, no matter what the movie is. Thankfully, this movie is excellent, and she delivers a performance just as good as the movie. She is going through a lot, and she's trying to suppress the emotions to try to, to lead the team to try to, do the heist. And there are some scenes where she's alone, and sometimes she'll just lose it because she's going through so much. But how she suppresses herself and how she really, conveys her emotions, even without talking, it was something that you had to see to believe. Viola Davis really gives it her all here. And of course, there are some scenes that I don't want to spoil that, she has some conversation scenes with other other actors in the movie and other characters. And it's really great to see. She delivers it her all. I really hope she gets nominated for an Oscar for this. Elizabeth Debicki is another standout. I know she's starting to become really huge. I know she was in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. She was also in Cloverfield Paradox earlier this year. And this is by far the best I've seen of her. And it's really fun to see how, well, maybe fun's not, well, okay, yeah, it's fun, and it's really awesome to see how her character arc progresses from when you first see her from how the movie ends. And I really don't want to say anything else, but her character changes, and there are some scenes when you see her change and you're just like, yeah, go you, because she goes through a lot as well. All these women do, but her particularly, she has, doesn't really have the easiest life with her, who was her husband, and her mom, and just how she changes. It's really great to see. Daniel Kaluuya, though, holy shit. Okay, so he plays the politician's brother, and this guy is nuts. Okay, remember how last year he was in Get Out and everyone was like afraid for him, like, they want him to succeed? All right, well, this year in Widows, you need to be scared of him because, man, this guy is as cold-hearted as they come. I mean, he plays one of the villains in this movie, and he is a fantastic villain. Oh my God. He's one of those guys where you just see him and you're like, yep, I'm dead. He wants something to do with me. Yeah, I'm dead. I know it. Just kill me now, because I'd rather have a quick death than have you, be as sadistic as you are and kill me, and God knows in what kind of way. He was really great, and I loved his character in the movie. Everyone, like I said, gives a top-notch performance. Michelle Rodriguez, she shows she has more acting range. I'm not a huge fan of Michelle Rodriguez, admittedly, because I feel like in her previous movies, she doesn't really have a lot of range, but this movie, she has a lot more range. And like I said, everyone else is really solid. This movie has a lot of people, but it never feels like there's too many characters. All these characters serve a meaning, and they serve a purpose, even if at first they don't seem so. So there is once you'll see Cynthia Erivo, and you'll see, okay, how does she fit in? And as the movie goes along, you'll see that she plays in the story, and also Robert Duvall's character, Colin Farrell. It all plays out. And Carrie Coon, who's not in it much, but she's an important factor in the movie. So there's a lot of characters, yes, but they all play a significant factor. And they are all relevant, and they're all interesting. And I have to say, as the movie went along, it just progressively got better for me. This movie, I have to say, the trailer is a little misleading in a sense that, like I said, it kind of markets itself as just a strictly heist movie with action scenes. And yeah, it's a heist movie, and yes, that is the plot that I explained to you early is in fact the plot. But like I said, this movie is more about how people try to move on and rebuild themselves, from a really shitty society. And the movie is more about the characters. It's a character drama, and a lot of scenes of dialogue, but the writing is brilliant. And despite the fact this movie it has a serious story and there's some serious shit going on, but there's a surprising amount of comedy, and the comedy really works. It's never forced, or it's not like, oh, that was cringy or so out of place. No, the comedy works really well. And the score from Hans Zimmer is also fantastic. I thought Hans Zimmer did a great job with the score. What's also really cool too, and I might be wrong when I say this, but I believe the first 30 minutes of the movie does not have any score. There's a lot of scenes where it's just characters talking, and moments of silence. You just hear nothing but pure quietness, and it's kind of like you're in that scene with them, and you're like, oh shit, I wonder what's gonna happen. It's too quiet in here. But then the music, it starts to come like after 30 minutes, and it's well utilized in every scene it was in, especially towards the intense scenes. Like the score definitely helps with how scenes play out and all that kind of stuff. And there's an original song called The Big Unknown, which I really hope gets nominated for Best Original Song. The song is phenomenal. But anyway, Widows is absolutely terrific. It is absolutely one of the best movies of the year. It's a little heartbreaking to know a couple of things. Heartbreaking that this movie did not do very well at the box office. It's also very sad that this movie seems to be getting polarizing reactions from the audience members. Some people seem to find it too slow or too boring, which is unfortunate. I would say I would highly recommend it. And to go in expecting maybe a different movie than what the trailer is expecting it to be. Because I can understand maybe feeling like you were misled. But let me tell you, I'd rather have the movie that we got than have a generic action heist movie that would play on TNT with commercials and that's it. I'd rather have a movie that has something to say and focuses on characters while simultaneously being very entertaining and delivering good action scenes than, just a generic action movie. I'd rather have, the movie that we got from director Steve McQueen. And I feel like if Steve McQueen or Gillian Flynn didn't direct or write this movie, then we probably would have had that generic movie. And maybe I shouldn't say that because everyone else did, a really great job. But, you can tell that Steve McQueen, this was a passion project with Stephen McQueen, and it really shows. I absolutely love this movie. Can't praise it enough. I'm going to give it an A+. One of the best movies of the year. One of the best character dramas I've seen in quite a while. And yeah, if you like Steve McQueen movies and if you just want to see a really good movie, really good heist film, watch Widows. It's in theaters, not doing well at the box office, but now is your time to go ahead and support movies like this. So that's my review of Widows. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Widows. I don't know what movie I'll be reviewing next. It'll be a surprise, I guess. But until next time, my name is Diego Coya. Have a good one. Bye.